Imagine standing in the heart of Manhattan, watching people stream past, suits, smartphones, Starbucks in hand, everyone rushing towards something. Ask any one of them why they work so hard, and you'll hear variations of the same answer: to be financially free. But what if I told you that most of them don't even know what that actually means? Financial freedom. Two words that sound like paradise. But here's the twist. Like any great illusion, its meaning shifts depending on who you ask. For some, it's retiring at 35 with beachfront property and passive income. For others, it's being debt-free with a simple home and time for family. And then there are those who chase it forever, without realizing it was within reach years ago. Let's rewind a bit. In 1955, a man named Sam retired at the age of 60. He lived in Ohio, owned a modest house, and had a pension from the steel mill. His idea of financial freedom? Enough to pay the bills, fish on Sundays, and buy his grandchildren ice cream. Adjusted for inflation, Sam's total nest egg today would be just over $300,000. By modern standards, that wouldn't even pay for a studio apartment in some cities. But Sam never felt poor. He never felt constrained. He felt free. Fast forward to now. The FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early, has millions tracking every dollar, saving 70% of their income, investing in index funds, and hoping to hit that magical number, 25 times their annual expenses. The math is simple, but life rarely is. Here's where it gets murky. Most people, when asked how much they need to feel truly free, wildly overestimate. A study by Charles Schwab revealed that Americans believe they need an average of $1.7 million to retire comfortably. Yet statistically, most retirees live on far, far less, and many report feeling content. So what's going on? Why do we chase a number that might not even reflect our reality? It begins with a lie we've been sold. That freedom is about more. More money, more security, more stuff. But often it's really about less. Less anxiety, less dependence, less fear of tomorrow. True financial freedom isn't just about money in the bank. It's about control over time, the luxury of saying no, the quiet thrill of knowing you could walk away and still be okay. Take Grace, for instance. At 29, she lived in a tiny apartment in Lisbon. No car, no expensive furniture. She freelanced, earned modestly, and traveled often. To many, she looked like she was just scraping by. But she had no debt, a healthy emergency fund, and work she could do from anywhere. She wasn't rich, but she had what many millionaires lack: autonomy. Compare that to Alex, a corporate executive with a $300,000 salary, a downtown penthouse, 2 luxury cars, and a calendar full of meetings. He couldn't quit. He couldn't breathe. He had golden handcuffs, and the price of his lifestyle imprisoned him. One of them had financial freedom. The other had financial dependence disguised as success. Here's the kicker. Most people spend more time planning vacations than they do calculating what financial freedom would actually cost them. The number is different for everyone, and that's what makes it so powerful. If your dream life is a cabin, a garden, and peace, you might only need $25,000 a year. If it's first-class flights and art auctions, that number will rise dramatically. But the tragedy? Many people never ask themselves what kind of life they want. They just chase someone else's dream. And then there's the paradox of more. Psychologists have studied this for decades. The more money people make beyond a certain threshold, the less happiness it adds. In fact, one study from Princeton found that emotional well-being plateaued at around $75,000 per year. After that, the stress of earning more often cancels out the benefit. That's not to say wealth doesn't help. It absolutely can, but only if it's used intentionally. So how much do you really need? Enough to stop being afraid. Enough to walk away from what drains you. Enough to sleep without waking in panic at 3 a.m. Enough to live, not survive. Financial freedom is less about the money and more about the margins. The space between your expenses and your income. The gap between what you have and what you need. That's where freedom lives. Not in the dollar amount, but in the choices it gives you. And here's the final twist. For some, financial freedom costs $5,000 a month. For others, it's a single decision away. Downsizing, quitting a toxic job, saying no to lifestyle inflation. It's not always about hitting a number. It's about recognizing when you already have enough. So if you're watching this and wondering how far away freedom really is, don't ask how much money you need. Ask what kind of life you want. Then calculate the cost of that life, not someone else's. You might find you're already closer than you think. The race isn't always about reaching millions. Sometimes it's about stopping the race entirely. And that might just be the richest feeling in the world.